Yo, what up? Working on medium red. I'm actually working on this trailer over here, but messing around with this a little bit. Thought I'd fix the battery terminals a little bit. If you're a baller and like to spend money, you can get a new cable made from that battery to this battery. If you're cheap, like me, you can just hack it, and as long as you got a couple inches of room, you can hack it and put a new terminal on the end. So this is from O'Reilly's. This is a standard size. It's a heavy duty. I'll use this because we got a big gauge. I just redid this one. Got the big one. It's got a whole bunch of dumb little jumper things on the side, but it works. The bolt that came with it was too small, so I got a big stainless bolt because it's got a whole bunch of add-ons. It might be long enough, but I don't really like to have the cables pulled tight. So if we got enough room, we'll cut this one off and redo that. For now, we got the batteries disconnected. Got them covered. Batteries are kind of like little bombs, so you can pull them out if you want. I'm gonna put the phone down. I got a cutoff wheel. We're gonna cut it right about here, and then you can get either a razor blade, make a mark around the insulation, peel that off. You want at least this much, normally just a touch more, so you can jam it through the end. Tighten it down. This is a 7/16 or an 11. It's easiest if you got it on a gun. Okay, I got that sliced off. This can go in the garbage. So like I said, you can have a cool tool that strips it. You can mark it and run a razor around. I'm gonna try to just use this and just, without going through the cable, just cut the insulation off. All right, well, let's take a look here. Perfect. So, if you guys got a lot of corrosion growing, cut the cable back and you still see corrosion, you gotta try to cut it back more and more until you get rid of that corrosion. But at that point, you normally just replace the cables. This one doesn't have corrosion, just has I mean just a touch, but hardly any. Clean this with some little battery cleaner if you want, but it should be good to go. So now just bust these puppies loose. I like to run them out till they're about flush. And should this slip right over. So what you don't want to do is go over the insulation and clamp down, because you're only clamping on half the wire. So I like to make sure it's right at the insulation here. Push down with your thumb and then just tighten her down. Okay, looks good, perfect length. So, you know, positives are a lot bigger than negative posts. These are all kind of made to fit negatives. So get a battery terminal spreader. If you don't got one, it's gonna spread this side. So if you use it this way, you're just gonna spread the lead or whatever this is made out of. So you want to make sure it's this way when you spread it. Normally they're tapered. So you gotta come in from the bottom. And just give her a couple small spreads. We'll do it just another little touch or two. All right, perfect. Then the little carriage bolt that normally comes with it, just snug it up. And you know, don't go freaking as tight as you can, because then you'll just make the lead weak on the side from overextending it. Just bring it in until it's nice and tight. You can twist as hard as you can and there'll be no movement. Then after that, I like to give this a big old tug to make sure that it's super secure. If you have a little play, you can use like a standard one. They're normally for like gas engines with a smaller diameter cable. Get them a little snugger, but I like the big ones for the big cables. So we're gonna undo this, drop some shit. Okay, then same thing here. I pulled this out, make sure I got a couple extra inches. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm just gonna hack it off. I'm gonna strip this one down, put an eye loop on this, and I'll run the eye loop through one of the bolts, and I'll run the main cable through the main part of the terminal. All right. So cut the little one down, got a little eye loop on there. This one has a little built-in heat shrink. If you're fancy, you can whip out your heat gun. If you're not, you can just normally use a lighter. This ground cable had a little corrosion on it here. I might order a couple new grounds from Rock Auto. So you can leave the bolts in here when you spread it. It's a little bit easier to tighten it down. Or after you spread it, you can just get some pliers and just tweak her around the post a little bit. And it should normally grab it just a little bit. And get a 1/2 inch. Don't impact these or nothing, but like I said, these things stretch, and eventually they stretch. If you take it in and out tons of times, they'll stretch and crack. That's why I replaced that one. So you just gotta go to where you freaking cannot turn that as hard as you can, and it's tight. So you could tighten this all the way down to here and you'll just be overstretching everything. This ground, if I cut it here, strip it back to here, and I'll pretty much have to pull it as hard as I can. So I think I'm gonna try to cut it about right here. Hopefully the wire will be hanging out. That way I can kind of cut the back of the insulation about here. That way when I put it on the new terminal, it's not pulling super tight. But like I said, I'll probably end up buying a couple new grounds. And then the little two, I'll put on little eye loops and put on the bolts. got this puppy cut off. Like I said, I cut it the furthest I could. The cable didn't really want to shorten any. A little bit of corrosion here. So I'll cut back the insulation, another 3/8 of an inch or so. And I'll bolt this to the new one. The little cables here have plenty of length, so just cut those off, strip those back, put a couple loops on those and bolt her up, and we'll be done. I forgot to tell you, you should always put a little dielectric grease around the cables and stuff. Helps corrosion, future corrosion. And I need to make some battery hold downs, but I'll probably do that another day. All right, guys, there you have it. Might not be the most professional thing you ever seen, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was. These kept twisting even though I was holding down, so I just added a little lock washer and a flat washer. You can test them all, like I said, just grab on them, wrench them. Obviously this side's a little cleaner, there's not 4,000 things jumping off of them. But yeah, that's a quick, easy way to do it.